Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are in for a treat. We got a real awesome episode for you. I've always been talking about this really late show with Matt Struck, and I think a lot of people thought that that wasn't a real thing. But today's episode is brought to you by the Roy Smith Law Firm, and today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Matt Struck. Yay, Matt Struck! How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Before we get started, Matt, I need to make sure that there's been some rumors. So no questions are off limits. We talked about that. You don't have questions in advance, and you're not getting paid for this interview. Okay, let's be frank about that, because people thought that I was gonna like throw you softballs. So no questions are off limits, and you're not getting paid for this episode. Okay.
Sounds like a typical comedy writing job.
Well, I'm just saying, people thought that you're such a hard guest to book. He's like, you must have paid the guy. I don't know. All right, just be clear on that. All right, Mr. Matt Struck, tell everybody the nature of our relationship. How do we know each other?
So you and I actually met we were getting our education on. So we both went to the same university,
Sure.
comedy business school.
Gotcha.
I think it's Ivy League. I can't remember.
Sure.
And I wasn't sure about it because I normally don't do stuff like that, but I was like really feeling like I needed to kind of get back to like really late night and how I was making the show. I was kind of stuck. And part of it that the course taught me was just really the benefits of collaborating. And I put up just a post saying, hey, I'm looking for writers to help write some sketches, monologue jokes, and kind of like the bigger story. And then you hit me up and then sent me your link. And I was like, man, this guy's really funny, really comfortable. And then we became friends. And I think we've been meeting like every week, maybe for like 5 months, maybe 6.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, if I recall the story, you slid into my DM saying, hey, bro, I think you really got something going on. Can we connect somehow? And I was like, wait, this is super weird, uncomfortable, but the guy's got a nice smile. So I was like, let's do it. Okay.
Right.
And so let's throw a shout out real quick, because this is imperative. The founder of Comedy Business School is who?
Scott Dickers, who everyone probably knows as the creator of The Onion. He founded The Onion, the satirical magazine, which I loved growing up. And he's also just written a lot of like books on comedy, and he's worked in a lot of different ways. He's really fascinating. He's built like several big things with his name not attached, which I thought was interesting. And this was the first time that he was like, I'm Scott Dickers and I'm teaching a course. So I went for it.
I just want to say to everyone, if you want to get into comedy, I think it's the best investment out there. And I started out a couple of years ago doing stand-up, but this really gave me direction in regard to there's several different ways you can make money doing comedy. So I thought it was fascinating. It's a small investment. And if you put the principles that he outlines in play, you'll be successful. So that's how we met. That's great. And so now we met Comedy College a few months ago, and we're meeting every week, which is awesome. And we'll do this. We'll do our black first, because we do that on Between Two Perms, and we'll let everyone know that the Perms are here. The one with the blue, her name is Michelle. We call her Shelly. The one in the green, her name is Lucinda. We call her Lucy. Okay, Between Two Perms. We do this every episode. Here's our black first for you, ladies and gentlemen. And this is brought to you by the Roy Smith Law Firm. The first black daily newspaper in the 20th century was the Atlanta Daily World, founded in August 3rd, 1928 by William A. Scott III. In spring 1930, it became a biweekly, and on March 13th, 1932, it became a daily. And after Scott's death, his brother Cornelius, that sounds like a great name, Cornelius. I remember Don Cornelius from Soul Train. Cornelius Adolphus, C.A., Pops Scott, took over as editor and publisher until 1997. Wow, when he retired. In 1997, Alex Scott Reeves was named the publisher, and the newspaper founded by her grandfather, W.H. Scott. She was in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and Cox Enterprise for the 22 years, moving from reporter to editor to the director of human resources and later director of diversity of Cox. Now published 2 days a week, the paper is run by second and third generation family members. So that's your black first. Fantastic. I had to throw that out there because when I was in Chicago, there's a Mexican guy congratulating black first.
Yeah.
We'll talk about your people shortly. I always wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was awesome. When I was working in Chicago, I worked for the Chicago Defender, which was a newspaper that was fascinating. It was a Black-owned newspaper, Black written. It competed with the Chicago Sun-Times, Chicago Tribune. So there's your Black First, brought to you by Roy Smith Law Firm. Now, let's get back into you. Let's talk about the Really Late Show with Matt Stroh. So what drove you to, how did you come up with this idea one day? Hey, I'm going to be the next Jimmy Fallon. I'm going to do my own thing. Like what motivated you to do that?
Well, what's funny is, I did music for a long time. I was making like experimental music, and I started hanging around more and more funny people, and they were saying like, "Hey, you're funny too." And then like I just started going to like comedy shows and started like going to like open mics with my friend. I worked at this place called the World's Smallest Store, and me and my friend would just sit in there and just come up with like funny premises and talk all day.
What was the square footage of that store, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, I want to say it was like 9 square feet or something. It definitely wasn't all the way to that wall. It was like halfway between here and there, and just one like hallway. And me and my friend would sit in there selling t-shirts, and people would come in and be like this far away from your face, pre-COVID, obviously. And it was like my friend, his name was Ivan Youngblood. He's like a comedic genius. And it was the first time that I saw someone whose comedy was an extension into their real life. Like it wasn't just like comedy inside of a comedy club. It's like he opened up this store as like a joke, you know? And then
so before you, I'm fascinated by this. We won't spend too much time on this. What were they selling in the World's Smallest Store? Like
just
pennies?
t-shirts, random t-shirts that he made in his basement, So then I got introduced to comedy, and then a friend of mine was like, we should make a late night show. And I was like, let's do it. And I like got tired of people always being like, let's do something. I felt like I was surrounded by talkers. So I was like, let's do it. And I ended up shooting the pilot about.
And not to interrupt, what year was this?
Okay, you ready for how long this idea has been going on?
Yes.
That was in 2013.
Okay. All right. Not too bad.
2013, we shot a pilot, and it was supposed to be a regular late night show, just a regular late night show. We never finished the pilot. And then I started doing a live show in a donut shop after hours, where I was this character who was interviewing musicians, telling jokes, dressed up in my suit. And then I moved back to Denver and joined the public access station. And I still, that had been 3 years now, and I still was not ready to give up on this idea. So I kind of started from the bottom and interned here at the public access station.
Wait. Are you saying you started from the bottom, now you're here?
Yeah. And I have been told I look like Drake. If you turn down the lights and kind of like look away a bit.
Wait. You never called me on your cell phone, though. You always call me through Zoom. So I don't
right. If you have the right link, which I feel like half the time we're looking for each other's links.
Yes.
And then it was here.
But I feel like that's God's plan, though.
Nice. Oh, it's nonstop.
Keep going.
So yeah, and then after kind of my own examination, I was like, I don't want it to be just a regular late night show. I want it to be about a character who has a late night show. And then here I made friends, and we basically started filming scenes. And after that, it was like couple years of just working on that side of the show. And then I started to miss the sketch comedy.
I like to interject every now and then so I can just make sure my audio viewers and listeners understand something. So you told me the first time you presented this to me, and I knew what this meant, but I was perplexed. You said it was a meta show, which means it's a show about a show. Is that what the premise was for the original show, or do you have a real show and a meta show as well?
So that's a good question.
That's why I am the moderator for Between Two Perms. That's what we do.
Right. So yeah, it's a show about a show. So similar to like 30 Rock, where you're going behind the scenes, you're watching people make the show. But really, how I think of it is like autobiographical fiction, right? The character's named after me. Some of the things have happened to me. And to make the world feel bigger and more real, I think it's important to treat it like it's real, which is why we have writers' meetings, which is why we spend time in the studio. Because I do love writing comedy with people and I do love interviewing people. So it is a blend. It's a blend of fiction and a blend of reality, you know?
I mean, I know I'm the executive producer of the show and that we're trying to build something together, but I thought I was your friend first, and that's the kind of stuff you're going to say. And you know, I'm sorry, you gotta stop doing this whole I wanna quit thing after every freaking show. I know this time it was Emily, but last time, you remember the popcorn incident?
That was not my fault.
Yeah, it was still something that I had to clean up. It was still something that, you know, I always have to end up pulling you back because I know you want to be here and I want you to be here. You know, we got 2 minutes before we got to get back out there. Let's get back out there because this is going to pass. So what do we say? What do I say?
I don't want to say that.
Come on.
So hokey.
This too.
This too.
This too shall pass.
Please welcome to the stage Emily Fremgen, everyone. That was awesome.
Is there water here?
There is water here. There's a kitchenette with access to water.
Okay. Alright.
I can show you where it's at after the interview.
Okay.
If you like.
That's fine.
Yeah. So you're in town,
Yeah.
visiting from New York.
New York.
I was gonna say.
Ready?
Yeah. Hey, look at that! Yeah, let's bring her a glass of water.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cheers.
Help with Daniel Reskin, everyone. That man, he is a tall glass of water. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's hot.
Let me ask you a question. There was a debate we had on Facebook, and Facebook is the greatest place to have debates ever. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You're arguing with people who are like scientists, rocket scientists, doctors, and lawyers. It's amazing. So someone said Fallon or Kimmel, and I responded to that. Fallon is way more talented in regard. He sings, he dances, he's funny, he's got the better franchise. Do you think your show is more like Fallon, Kimmel, Conan, Johnny Carson, Jay Leno? Who would you say your show is kind of inspired by?
I mean, I think probably closest to Conan, because part of the joke is how not funny I am.
And I will tell you something that's funny. In this little debate meme, it was only Fallon or Kimmel, but a bunch of people kept saying Conan. And I was like, I'm sorry, everyone. Hunter Biden and Conan are not on the ballot. So can we just focus on the two people that are there? I think Conan is hilarious. I think he's brilliant. I think the best ever is Letterman, but Johnny Carson was the guy. He was the guy, like the trailblazer that everyone, Carson, you got on Carson, you made it. So right. I'm telling you right now, if you get on Matt Struck, the really late show of Matt Struck, you made it. But you're saying Conan is what you most
Conan, yeah. And then for who I do like Seth Meyers because I do like politics too. And, you know, I know you like talking politics as well.
Sure.
I love that they produce a closer look. I feel like that's like a really good segment, you know?
Yeah. At this time, we're going to do the word of the day. And today's word of the day is brought to you by the Roy Smith Law Firm. The Roy Smith Law Firm, the choice is Royce. If you break your ankle at work, Royce will break the bank of your employer. Okay, I'm just throwing it out there. He doesn't endorse that. He doesn't endorse that tagline, but I'm trying to like get paid. So today's word is parochial, I guess. It's an adjective, narrow or confined in point of view. Provincial. The townspeople's concerns were entirely parochial. They worried only about what happened in their town and not about the larger world around it. The journalist's parochial point of view prevented him from becoming a nationally known figure. Hopefully we don't become parochial. A lot of people think the parochial school is a religious school. Actually, the parochial school is the school of the parish or neighborhood. In other contexts, though, parochial has a negative connotation. There's your word of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we can try to incorporate that into the rest of the episode. So,
you know what I like about your show?
What do you like about my show?
It's like edutainment, you know, you're still learning, but you're learning because you're curious. And I think people who are curious are kind of the best people to be around because they're engaged. You know, they're engaged in reality.
Did you patent that? Is that the word of the day today? Edutainment? Because when I submitted my podcast to the National Podcast Association, what our tagline is, between two perms, a place for learning and laughter. It's that simple. So we try to edutain people. So yeah, right on.
Ooh, you know what might be nice? It's like edutainment ... learn while you perm.
So now everyone's going to be getting a perm, and then they're going to be reading like the Pythagorean theorem while they're getting a perm. This is amazing. I'm stealing that. Learn,
dude,
or is it perm while you learn, or learn while you perm? I love it.
Learn while you perm.
I'm actually because we always feature a local business. I'm actually going to a beauty shop, which is going to close out our season. This is our first season. We're very excited about it. It's going to be like 20 episodes, and she's can actually do perms. So that's closing out the season. So let's talk about, where can folks view the Really Late Show with Matt, the Really Late Night with Matt Struck? Like, how can they click on it, link it? How long is the show? I mean, it's a great show, and I'm a writer on the show, by the way, everybody.
Right. So unbiased opinion. Yeah. So if you go into YouTube and type in Really Late Night with Matt Struck, I'm the only one that shows up. If you type in Matt Struck into YouTube, a bunch of football players show up. So you got to type out the whole thing.
Gotcha.
And then reallylatenight.com, full episodes are there, sketches are there. Instagram, Really Late Night. And then I have my own website with other projects that I worked on, just mattstructures.com.
When you say Really Late Night, is it spelled NIGHT or NIGGA?
NIGHT.
I mean NIT. What?
NIGHT, the regular. Yeah, so there's been 6 full episodes, but we've produced 60 videos. And if you like tally all the views that we've gotten, the show itself has got about 32,000 views, which, like, to me, I know for people who are like viral or whatever is nothing, but to me, the fact that it's been viewed that many times, I think is like just so exciting and something that I didn't think would be possible. And I just want to keep growing that, you know?
Or is it disappointing that it's been viewed so many times and nothing has really happened? No, I'm joking. Listen, I'm the anti-view guy. I want 3 views and I'm proud. Whoever those 3 people are, I can reach out to my audience and connect with them on a one-on-one basis, because there's only one of them. But if you got 32,000, like, who are those people?
Right. Yeah.
People who like good stuff. Like Really Late Show.
I mean, granted, maybe like 6,000 or 7,000 of those are me just watching it, laughing out loud, going like,
I know for a fact 1,500 of those are me. So I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, I think like I've had my life fall apart several times.
Who hasn't?
Some people haven't, and you can smell it on them when they walk into a room.
Yeah, because Donald Trump's life's been all perfect forever.
It's weird he was given so much, and he's intentionally ruined his own life. Like, why? How did you pull that off? So I've had to start over in my life several times, and
you say several. Tell me how many. I've had to start over no less than 4 times.
I've started from the bottom like 3 times. Like,
gotcha.
$5 in my account, don't have somewhere to live, start over.
But so here's the thing. You told me something when you interviewed me that was fascinating. You were like, you said something about you're broke and you're at the bottom, but someone said, no, we need you. So you said, I'm in this broke space to keep giving comedy to people because they want this broke guy out there. I forget exactly. I'm paraphrasing what you said, but it was a fascinating story.
Yeah, I think what I probably said was that I make comedy for underdogs. I believe that people who are like don't have the upper hand, or people who have to start with nothing, or kind of have to start with a lot of challenges, to me, those are the people I can relate to the most, because that is where like you really have to stay committed, and you become so humble that you can like actually be grateful for anything, no matter how many views you get. your level of gratitude is so much higher. So I make comedy for underdogs. And, you know, me and my creative goons will roll up on any other writing team and show them what's what.
Your creative goons. I like it.
Yeah.
I want to say now, where do you see the really late night going in the future? So tell me what your goals are. And I know you started something about an intern program where you can mentor people. I remember when I got in from the bottom, like not starting from the bottom, you threw out a message that says, does anybody want to get involved with this? Like, hit me up. And I was like we learn in comedy business school, fire on all cylinders. Anything, any way you can get yourself out there, do it. So I was like, I didn't know who this guy was. He looks kind of weird. His name is Matt Struck. I really don't understand it, but I'm willing to take a risk. And it paid off dividends 110%. I've got mentors and people that say the idea that you can be in a writer's room is invaluable. Like if you want to get on SNL, if you want to get on these other shows, the ability to sit down there and riff and writing sessions and all that stuff, that experience is invaluable. So then you got a bunch of people and then you closed up shop, but then you realize how Hollywood and people are flaky and people don't want to grind. And then all of a sudden some of those people fell off. Then you started something else. And now you're starting an intern program. Like, talk about that.
Yeah. So I think, you know, one of the things about the pandemic that showed me was that we're actually much more capable of collaborating online than originally thought. So before, I was just meeting with people in person, and you know, when you're meeting with people in person, sometimes they flake out too. And over time, I just didn't have as many collaborators. And then the pandemic hit, and it was like, okay, I'm meeting with people over Zoom all the time. We're sending emails, everything's digital. And I realized that by opening up really late night, I could have people give me what they think is funny, and they're in a different time zone. They're like people I've never met, you know, and we're all like from different cities.
Wait. So if someone says, why do black people like eating soup? Because it's the only time you can drown a cracker. That's funny in Eastern Standard Time, but in West Coast time, that's not funny. Is that what you're telling me? I don't get it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you do that, and then you're gonna get like some real big laughs on the Eastern Standard, the mild laughs in the middle, and then all the progressives way out west are gonna be very upset with you.
South of the Mason-Dixon line, I'm gonna get a bunch of hate mail.
Right. Yeah, and what I love about it is that it's like community, you know, it's like like it's not like a job, right? Because I'm not paying anyone.
Whoa. Listen, wait a second. I thought reparations were coming through with the Biden bucks. I thought I was getting paid. Okay.
Just so anyone knows, I'm so pro reparations. I don't want any flack on Twitter. Yeah, and so like to me, it's like it's about building community, because there's a ton of like Facebook comedy writing groups, right? But they're just a bunch of randos. And what's cool about us is that we're like regularly meeting. So, you know, it reminds me kind of like how like churches, like you're not always friends with everyone at church, but you're all there for the same feeling of being connected to something bigger, you know? I'm starting a cult, basically, I think is where I'm going.
Well, I was in the Catholic Church the other day, and I realized that there's a bunch of stand up, sit down, kneel, roll, Harlem Shake, do this, do that, and they wanted me to kneel, and I was like, listen, I'm in a church with full white people, and I'm not kneeling because they're going to think that I'm being disrespectful to the cross. And the thing is, so when they were kneeling, I was standing up with my hand over my heart, saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I was throwing it out there. I wasn't about to get myself in trouble.
Right. Good call, man. See, you understand. They're not.
It was like a Get Out episode. I'm like, they're not going to trick me.
Okay. Yeah, like I think I wasn't sure, like there is something nice about the little like things that you nail on, but just like kicking your feet up there and relaxing for a minute. I grew up Catholic. I probably should have stayed, because all the getting up and sitting down would have helped my TikTok game, you know? Like
Dude, telling you, and my mom is Episcopalian, and she didn't like the joke that I was writing about. Get up, sit down, drink some wine, baptize a baby, smack somebody, Harlem Shake, okay? Two-step, all these things. And I'm like, if I got to get up one more time and then sing a song, light a candle, read a scripture verse, and it was like, you guys could have all did this in one take. One take. Let's kneel one time. Let's sing one time. Let's sing a very long song.
Right.
Let's kneel for 5 minutes.
Right.
Let's pray for 20 minutes. And let's just all do it. One take and be done. She was like, no.
When you have to respond back and you don't know what the lines are and you just kind of have to mumble and like try to fit in.
Listen, I sing to my own tune. So I was over there singing some Beyonce when they were talking about Heavenly Father, we love you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Singing like single ladies.
You're a rugged individual. You do what you want when you want.
Exactly.
I remember growing up, I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, why do we have a picture of Jesus up on the wall? And she was like, oh, just in case. So like, it was just an insurance policy in case he came back, that it would be like, no, we're good here. Look, we have you up on the wall. We're good. Keep going.
I don't know the nature of the relationship with your mother if you're throwing her on the bus right now, because my mom told me back in the day, she was like, I don't want to wear a cross on my neck, because she said, think about it like this. If someone came here and shot you in the face, am I going to wear a gun on my neck just to remember you? Like she's like, it's the same thing. Jesus died on the cross, so he was crucified. It was very brutal. It was very like not cool, and now we all celebrate that. So I was like, that's very profound.
Yeah, that is true. That is weird. I feel like Suge Knight would wear a gun on his neck.
Oh my goodness!
Don't be like Suge Knight. All of you are acting like Suge Knight right now.
So going back to this has been fantastic. I'm glad that we finally everyone knows that Matt Struck is a real thing.
I'm real.
So everyone in comedy business school, we were challenged with like writing down our goals and writing down what we wanted to accomplish in a short-term goal, midterm goal, and a long-term goal. What is the long-term goal for Matt Struck with the show? With you individual, like maybe you want to write the show, create the show, and sell the show, or maybe you want to just develop the show. The show is on CNN or the show is on Netflix. Like, what do you see yourself doing in the next? Let me go with next 10 years, 5 years, and the next 5 months. Let's do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, put you on the spot, bro.
Yeah, this is big time.
Which one do you want to go? You want to go short term first, or do you want to go long term first? It's up to you.
Let's go short term and then long term, because that's how
don't forget the midterm. I always got in trouble in the midterms. Okay, don't forget midterm, right?
I know people only want to chime in every 4 years, and it's like, no, you got to get to the midterms, people.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go short term and then let's go small picture, big picture, because I think that's how big.
But you're missing the middle picture. Like there's the big bad wolf. This bed is just right. Okay.
Right.
Short term, midterm. Okay, go.
So short term, now that everyone's getting vaccinated, the idea of filming is less scary. So within the next couple months, I want to film a new first episode for a new season that's for a cold audience, because I didn't realize this, that I'm not as famous as I thought.
For our listeners, what does a cold audience mean?
A cold audience are not your friends, not your family, strangers off the street. They don't know you.
Gotcha. How are you going to capture that cold audience? I mean, you don't have to give me the sausage if you don't want to. You have to tell me I'm not giving me the sausage. That sounds like no homo. Right. I should say no homo.
Half homo. Give me the sausage.
Give me a side of sausage. But so how do you get that cold audience? Well, the challenge of a cold audience is that you can't rely on the fact that they pre-like you, right? So your friends and family, they already, if you're doing something right, they kind of like you, right? But a cold audience has no idea who you are and what you're doing. So you have to be really effective at introducing your idea, and what's the style of humor pretty quick off the bat. Because you only have like a good couple minutes to really hook someone in until they change. Not even that. Sometimes 30 seconds. Yeah. So I'm working closely with a producer
Jesse Lockwood, shout out. And we've been basically making an outline of 12
Wait, interrupt. Isn't Jesse on the band of the Really Late Show with Matt Truck? Go
Jesse,
ahead.
Jesse is in Decoy as one of the characters. He's part of Roland and the Rolling Stones.
And
here, we'll show a quick clip.
And you drop him in right here, and he is hilarious. And he's like, he's awesome. So
yeah.
All right.
So we came up with an outline, right? So it's 12 episodes. What happens from point A to point Z? And now we're just starting to write the scripts. And then with the writing group, we've been coming up with sketches. How do those fit in, you know? And I want to make that first episode, and I want to make it so clean and impressive that is what's going to be submitted next year to Series Fest. I did submit our monologue and an old sketch in a Series Fest this year. And
can you tell everyone what Series Fest is?
Yeah, so Series Fest is actually a really big film festival that happens in Denver. They're in their 7th year. And what they used to do is they would screen it at like this place called the Red Rocks Amphitheater. That's where like Daft Punk played. That's where Bob Dylan played. It's like one of the biggest venues. So it's like a big time film festival. It's not just like a film festival in someone's basement and they call it a film festival. And their whole thing is that they actually get shows in front of industry people. So my goal is to start working on that first episode for Series Fest next year and getting that so that way it's a completely realized idea. Because right now, that's a good look. I do like the colors. How did you come up with the colors?
Listen, I don't want to distract you. I'm just trying to get these are my staff, and they're not getting enough camera time. So blue's my favorite color. I'm Irish. Green's in there. But keep going.
And like I have to say that the most positive feedback I've gotten from people is when they're just like really impressed that we were able to produce this show out of the public access station. And the way that you do that is you just spend more time kind of figuring out clever ways to tell a story, you know? So for example, in the first pilot episode of the first season, when I was living in New York, we like shot a scene over the Brooklyn Bridge. And then I knew I'd be coming back to town. So I ended up filming a scene at the sand dunes. And I held on to this footage for years. And then I like re-edited it as a memory. And for the most part, when someone's making like a show, especially on public access, it's never a multi-city, multi-location destination. And the feedback that I've gotten from people that are impressed with how well of a job we've done is a reminder about how like seriously to take it and how much like love and energy to put into the show, because that's really what resonates with people, because they can sense it, you know? They can sense when you really care about what you do. And that's short term, right? So we want to make like a 15-minute episode, 2 of our sketches that we've talked about in the group, have them play as commercials, and just to begin to tell this story about this character who's trying to put his life together while having an independent late night show, you know? Gotcha. And so past that, right, if we want to move towards the middle, I think that there's a lot of space to like teach people how to write comedy and how to make movies. And the best way to do it is to like actually show up and just do those things. That's what I like about our writing group. It's not like we're just writing for no one. It's like we're writing for a show and there's a process. It's like instead of pretending that we're a late night show, we're just really a late night show, you know? Yeah. And I think that the way that the writing group is operated, I think can actually work with production. So people who want to learn how to like shoot film, people who want to learn sound, people who want to learn edit, it's like learn editing can also start to participate. And I just really want to build this community and basically help people get better at their craft, you know? And then they'll be able to like work professionally. And then I'll be able to have like people who I work with well, and we can work on this great show together and everyone gets credited. And I also, you know, cut together behind the scenes because I love highlighting people. I love sharing the spotlight. Like, even though I do put like my own face on mugs and stuff, here, let's see if you can see. I do like sharing the spotlight because I think that comedians in particular, branding, it's all branding. Comedians in particular, I think, do crave a certain amount of like attention that I think is a worthwhile cause.
Yeah, so I just had to put the business
Nice.
card and the, all that stuff. So and then the last thing we want to do is just like and like, does that cover your? And we're gonna wrap this up. Does that cover your 10-year goal, like your long-term goal?
So, my goal really for that midterm is basically just to be working on the show full time. I already have a Patreon that pulls in a couple $100s a month. But really to live off of that, I just need a couple like,
I don't know. I maybe people don't know what a Patreon is.
Patreon, it's like a subscription service. It's kind of like GoFundMe, but more subscription where
Gotcha.
for anywhere from $3 to $40 a month, people contribute. And part of their contribution is they get to see behind the scenes. We do live streams. We do like, we'll show them the clips first. And it's a really great way to get like in touch with your community. And right now we have about 23 subscribers. So there's 23 people in my corner saying, go. And it just helps me stay organized.
I will tell you something. To get 23 people as where you are, people need to realize when you do a podcast, when you do a show, it's work. And 23 might not sound a lot right now, but that right there is work. To get 23 people to contribute and say I believe in you, that's a step that's fascinating. I can't even get my mom to subscribe to every episode. And she says sometimes it's because, I thought I hit subscribe, then I didn't. And she's like, what is this episode? Tell me about this episode. I'm like, Mom, you should be subscribing right now. Last thing I want to say is that
wait, I want to throw my mom under the bus. She still hasn't subscribed either.
First of all, I am not throwing my mom under the bus. Okay? Go ahead. Listen.
So, and I feel like she's ducking me on it because when we're like hanging out, she'll bring it up and she'll be like, yeah, next week when I get my paycheck, I'll definitely subscribe. And I was like, I'm not trying to shake you down.
You already threw your mom under the bus saying something about we're gonna have this cross in the wall just in case. Okay? I mean, how's she gonna feel about that? But my mom throwing it out there. My mom did buy me a microphone, so my mom, I'm not throwing you under the bus. Okay, so
yeah.
Make sure that we're cool because Black mothers are a little bit different. Okay, so. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great episode. We were dedicating, we're doing something new. A lot of people said that I should introduce more characters that are more handsome, more articulate than myself, and that maybe, I don't know, I should just tone it down. Nobody cares about what you're doing, Ryan, so introduce other people. So that's why I wanted to have you on the show. We talk about you every episode. I'm gonna be here this week doing this. I'm gonna be writing for the Really Late Show with Matt Struck. So they didn't really think it was a real thing. So here we are. There's a clip. I'm gonna give you guys the inspirational quote, and then we're gonna wrap this up. So
and I gotta do my last big goal.
Sure. Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
So many of my favorite shows are on HBO. I want to be on HBO. I'm putting it out there. HBO, when you see this, email me at mattstruck@gmail.com. There you go.
Perfect. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guys watch Ellen Show. Ellen is my favorite comic. It's just my favorite comic, but my favorite male comic is Dave Chappelle. Ellen used to always say, be kind at the end of every episode. For some reason, she got in trouble. She stopped saying be kind. Now she says, I feel the love. I spread it around. It's a bunch of gobbledygook. We're bringing kindness back, okay? You guys don't know how to act. So here's my quote. Carry out a random act of kindness with no expectation of reward. Safe in the knowledge that one day someone might do the same for you. That's Princess Diana. We're bringing kindness back, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And I always like to leave my show with this. Life is short, so live life to the fullest because you never know what's going to happen. So go travel, do some weird stuff. Get on the Really Late Show with Matt Struck. Love the people that you love. We threw our moms under the bus, but we really love our moms. Live, love, learn. When you're done learning, you're pretty much done. That's why Between Two Perms is a place for learning and laughter. Live, love, learn, laugh. That's it. You guys are great. We'll see you next episode. Oh, that was brought to you by the Mifflin Street Cuts. Thank you guys. You're awesome.
Woo!
Woo! No laugh track.